Hi, I'm here at HRD 2012 and I've just been in a session to hear about how you can use social media to teach and train in the workplace. I'm now here with Perry Timms from the Big Lottery Fund, who chaired that session. So why use social media for learning?
Okay, why use social media for learning is a perennial question everybody asks, and I think it's reflecting the way people access information, the way they connect with each other. I'll give you a personal example actually. The way I use my Twitter feed has enabled me and signposted me to great content, to seriously influential individuals, and it's just connected me to a whole world of different thinking. So for me personally, that's where it's come into play. I think its difference is the excitement, the energy, the instantaneousness that it can bring, and I guess as people get used to interacting more on things like Facebook, they get more used to consuming learning content through that lens as well.
Okay. What applications or products have you used yourself?
Okay.
And how have they helped?
Okay, so I've got a couple of apps which have been really useful in filtering information for me. There's an app called Flipboard which creates a magazine look to my Twitter feed, my Facebook pages, all sorts of content from the web which it knows I like. So stuff around management, stuff around people, psychology. So in one digital magazine that's updated every time I log into it, I get the freshest information I can about the topics I'm interested in. There's another interesting app I found which is a mobile version of the MBA curriculum. It's an off-the-shelf product, but it actually has enabled people to experience an MBA through an app, through modules which they can learn on the go. So there's some really interesting things that you can learn while you're on a train, waiting for a bus, and do it in your time and at your leisure.
Is that Skillpill?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I mean, obviously, resistance to using social media is a big issue. How do you overcome that resistance?
Okay, I think resistance to using social media probably comes in a couple of ways. In that people are probably a little bit fearful about the consequence of instant information being accessible by anybody who's got access to Twitter or Facebook. And then I think the other aspect is that people feel a little bit scared about what they can use it for. So I think I would urge people to experiment with it, and I'd urge people to take a duty of care with using it. But I think the sharing of information and the instant accessibility provides a really strong case for why you should use it. I think if an organisation already has a strong presence in marketing and in press and PR using social media tools, there's no reason why the learning and the accessibility of that can't be turned inside, and the organisation adopt the same principles about content which stimulates and provides a reputational boost or amazing insight on an organisation is then used for learning. A lot of people would also advocate the use of things like a policy. I tend to have a different view on that, in that a policy probably is not necessary if you have a workforce that understands how social media is used and aren't fearful of the consequences of what it used when it's used correctly and appropriately. So I don't think you need to have legislation around this. I don't think you need to have scaremongering around it. I think you just need people to understand why it's a good thing to use.
So treat people like adults and they'll behave like adults?
I think it's absolutely that. I think it is. Yeah, I think you can illustrate good use of it. You can share with them how influential use of those tools can be and how it can help them filter information. And people won't use it in a mischievous and malevolent way. There's a lot of personal attachment to social media, and it's all about how you want to be perceived. So I think if you want to be perceived as somebody who's destructive in your thinking, social media is not necessarily likely to change your view on that. But if you are somebody who genuinely cares about issues and you tweet a view and an opinion, that's absolutely fine. Stimulate discussion.
Great. How is social media an improvement on old style or older style e-learning?
Okay, I've never really been a fan of e-learning, having experienced it as a learner. It was a very passive, almost one-way channel of information absorption and not really a learning tool in my mind. There was a high kind of tendency to be distracted and drop out because the stimulus wasn't there. I think what social media gives you is an interactivity, an excitement, and I think the whole principle of social media is it's short bursts, it's chunked down content, so it's not lots and lots of time spent at a desktop with a set of headphones on. It's when you want it, how you want it, on the move, sat at a desktop, and it's almost like you can provide a playlist of your own learning content rather than be shoved a couple of albums to listen to from start to finish. So I guess the analogy I'll use is music. It's about how you want to consume it. And I guess there's an excitement about some of the digital channels like YouTube, where there's some great content out there to find which stimulates your thoughts and gets you thinking in a different way. So I'd kind of go along that route as opposed to e-learning. It's more about user-driven and user-produced playlists.